Whoa. Trying to get things. Woo. Trying to get myself back in the swing of things, people. Hello. Hello. There we go. That's funny. I see something in the. I see a certain person's a thing. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's weird. They show people like if you're checking in or not. So hello. I'm not sure what that is. Interact. Could have interacted. So nice to see you, Blonde Cheryl, MC Nanny, Rachel. It has been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, it has been a while. Okay. So good morning. Yes. I'm just gonna double check here. I've got it going on here. I am totally rusty. What is the name of my website even, huh? Oh, yeah. So I have been, as I like to say, off the digital grid from 8/6 to 8/11. Well, today's 8/12, so I'm back on the digital grid. Okay, quick invite. I will not quick invite. Maybe I'll do that later. But yeah, TikTok Live, Destination Decluttered. Beth scheduled this TikTok Live. What you've scheduled, you get done. At least I found that. And I'm here to help you with your clutter. Now, Melly, nice to see you. Do I come to your house and work on your clutter with you? I know you want me to. And I could do it wicked easy, but you wouldn't like the results. You wouldn't, because then you'd be afraid that I got let go of something you didn't want, and you wouldn't have the skills to do it yourself, which to me, that's so much more important, is to learn the art and the skill of saying, what do I want? And then knowing you can make that happen. So what do I want? I want a decluttered home. I want a destination decluttered. And not saying, oh, well, maybe someday I can't do this. No, you say, I know how to get there. I know how to get to destination decluttered because I have a map. I know how to drive. I've got somebody helping me. There we go, that one persona. Thank you for the happy belated birthday. Yeah, it was belated. Please, any happy birthdays. I'm never going to say no to that. Had a wonderful birthday. Not going to lie. We had a marvelous trip to Chicago. Did a lot of fun stuff, but I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back for at least a few days because, yeah, seriously, those of you who are part of the Destination Decluttered, what do I keep? It's so funny. I have a Post-it note here that you're part of you're a member of the email group, so thank you. I did have the happiest of birthdays, and this year, if the first day of this birth year is anything like the rest of them, man, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, just to give you a heads up. So Beth, Destination Decluttered, Decluttering Life Coach. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week, I'm doing TikTok Lives. Saturday, we have a declutter party. And then, because we're traveling, I may do some pop-ups, but I really don't want to promise that because a lot of it is going to be up in the air. But here we are. Let's make the most of our time together. So if you tune in regularly, or even semi-regularly, to my TikTok Lives and the Destination Decluttered YouTube Lives that I do, of which we have one coming up right after this. Oh, hey, there we go. That one persona, morning share. I love it. Share and not, if I could turn back time. Son starts kindergarten tomorrow. Oh, organizing so tomorrow AM goes somewhat smoothly. Yeah. That's a lot of what decluttering is making things run smoothly in your house. Carla Jane, hi y'all. Carla Jane's in the house. I love it. I'm seeing my peeps and I'm meeting new people. So wonderful. Decluttering is not just about making your house look good to you and to other people, though there's nothing wrong with that. Decluttering helps your life run smoothly as opposed to run bumpily. When you know where things are, that they're ready for you to use so you can use them, and then it's easy to put them away, doesn't that feel good? I mean, seriously, being like, yep, I know where the scissors are. I go to use the scissors are sharp, I sizz, and then I put them away so that next time I use them. That's a lot of what decluttering is that kind of functionality, as I like to call it. But many of us don't have those skills set up now. And maybe you never have. Maybe you had them and then you got out of the habit. Maybe you never learned it as a kid. It's all good. It's almost like meeting people for a road trip that everybody kind of knows how to drive. Some people drive a stick shift. Some people, are better parallel parkers. But we're all here today at the beginning or at this juncture of your clutter journey. And I'm here to help you in the next 54 minutes. I'm doing the math in my head. I'm here to help you with the stuff that you do a lot of stuff well. I know this about you. You do a lot of stuff well, but there are some things that if you had help with it, it would be easier, right? I do too. I just came from a yoga class, and it's easier for me to work on my form and stick to it, frankly. Stay for the entire, do an hour's worth of yoga if I have somebody there kind of holding me accountable, and I've held myself accountable by paying for the class. That is a tool in my toolkit that works for me. I could spend a lot more psychic energy doing things on my own and saying, oh, I should look it up on YouTube, and I'll do that, but it's just easier for me to get help. There is nothing wrong with realizing that you want to get somewhere, but it would be easier for you to have a guide. Who are those guys? I was just in Chicago and they were talking about, like Lewis and Clark and all that. When somebody knows the lay of the land, when they have been there before, when they have been there and they have done that, that's a person who can show you and knows when things are going to get rocky and knows when it's good to take a rest and knows how to pace yourself to go through the journey of decluttering. That's what I think I am. I think I'm pretty good at it. I love doing it, so there's that. I don't like doing things that I don't enjoy. I've learned that too late in my life, but we live, we learn, we crash, we burn. Okay? But I show up like I do. I'm Gen X. I'm going to crack some jokes. I'm already talking into my microphone, Mr. Microphone. Hey, be back to pick you up later. So I ask you, share some wins if you want. Decluttering wins are always good. I want you to share your wins with yourself so you can know how it feels to feel good about yourself and what you did, no matter how small your win is. Because when you start to feel good about what you've done, you want to feel good a lot more. Because that's like kind of something addictive. Like, ooh, this feels good. I want to do more of this. So share your wins, but also please, I am here not just to hear myself talk. I'm here to help you. What's bugging you? Clutter-wise and otherwise, because your clutter and your other stuff, they're all kind of in the same, austerizer mixer. I may have to shut the window because it might get loud, but you tell me. So decluttering for me, I will share with you a little bit of my history. There we go. I love it. Mel, transferred your DVD collection to a single carrying case. Love it. Love it. So there we go. Such a good thing to have your stuff take up a smaller amount of space can be very helpful. Also, something that you can carry can be very convenient if you want to carry your DVDs from place to place. So that's great. That's good stuff. Yay for the good stuff. All the good stuff. Okay? Alphabetized even. Man, talk about categorizing. So categorizing your stuff is a wonderful way to, as I like to say, chunk it down. Now here's one of the things I kind of forget to do right now, but I will share this with you. Checking in with your human body. How are you feeling right now physically? Are you feeling good? Could you feel better? Okay. If you could feel better, do something to make yourself feel better. I got myself a little bite to eat. I'm going to be on the lives for the next 2 solid hours and then some. So I've got some water. And here's another thing too. Your environment. Is your environment making it easier to focus on the stuff that's important to you? I will share right now that mine is not. You know why? Because I don't know if you can hear them, but I believe it's the cicadas outside. stand the traffic, so I'm going to shut my window. That's one of the ways I calm down my nervous system so I can focus down on the things that are important. So as I do that, as I slide my way temporarily off camera, feel free to figure out how you can feel better physically just for the next 50 minutes and do something to make it easier for you to calm down your nervous system, quiet down maybe your environment, so we can hang out together and get into some good stuff, okay? Here, let me see if I can push off and be all silly with the wheels. All right, here we go. Oops. Okay. So the funny thing is I have two windows. This is another thing too, chunking it down. I have two windows. If I shut both windows, I would hear fewer distractions, but it would also get stuffy in here. So I have cut down my distraction ability by 50%, and I'm cool with having the other window open. Chunking it down, you guys, is seriously, it is such like a secret, simple, super secret code. Oh, Shanana, nice to see you, and Nurse Liz, and Janice and Hydra, I love it. Yay, thanks for welcoming me back to TikTok. I'm only on, just so you guys know, I'm only here live for this week, and then next week and the following week, I am out of pocket. I'm going to be on the road, and then I'm going to be on the ocean, because we're going on a boat. So hit me with the good stuff. How can I help you now? Now, it may take a little bit, because maybe nobody ever asks you, how can I help? Hey, Janice is asking, what is chunking it down? Janice, it's wicked easy. It's almost too easy. It's just chopping things into smaller bits. Now, technically, you don't probably want to be chopping your stuff down, but it's not being overwhelmed by too much. So if too much clutter makes you feel overwhelmed, we do a lot of the opposites here. So it's kind of chunking it down. Any process you do it already. Think about it. Janice, I was eating a bowl of cereal today. I did it a spoon at a time. That's chunking it down. You don't shove all this stuff in your face at once. I took a walk this morning. A walk is a step and a step and a step and a step. Those are chunks. I offer to you this wicked simple thing, okay? Anything you're overwhelmed with, you can feel less overwhelmed if you chunk it into smaller steps, smaller bits. So for example, your house, you may be overwhelmed with all of the clutter in my entire home. Okay, that feels overwhelming. Do you want to be overwhelmed? If you don't want to be overwhelmed by all the clutter, chunk it down. Say, I know I have stuff all over the place, but to get started changing it, I'm going to quiet down. I can do this. And I'm going to chunk it down and start with one room. Heck, maybe one room is even too much of a big chunk. I can't even. So then you chunk it down to like 1 square foot of that room. Where is it? So here's a fun thing. You think of your whole house, right? It's like, 1,500, 20,000 square feet, 14 square feet, however big your home is. But each one of your house is chunked down into, like, this is a tile from our kitchen. It's a leftover. Think of it. You could declutter like a 1 square foot thing, right? Chunking it down is making things more manageable. All right? Alrighty, so and I love it. Oceanana is heading to the shed today after her lymphedema appointment. Rock on, lady. The shed needs to be torn down, so we really, really need to be successful with exfoliating it. I love it. Yes, exfoliating, getting rid of what you don't want, right? This is great. So Janice, you were asking about chunking it down, and this is what I'm going to recommend to Debbie Gen X. 2 areas overwhelm me, my office and half of our lower level. Okay, so here's a great thing. So chunk it down. Pick a card, any card. Pick one place to focus on. When you don't chunk it down, you'll be kind of like, I get this and I get that and I'm here and I'm there. Learning the skill of decluttering requires you to practice it, to do it. And repetition helps you kind of get better at it. I don't want to say master. That sounds very slavery-like, and who the hell don't want that? So the more you practice something, the better you get at it, except for drinking. I read that in a book recently. But so think of that, Debbie. If you have two areas that overwhelm you, pick one of them. Pick one of them, and then what you're going to probably find when you go in there, I'll help you with a couple of categories of clutter I like to mention. Okay? 3 categories of clutter. Surface clutter, stored clutter, sentimental clutter. Surface, stored, sentimental. So you could go into, let's say, your office for whatever reason. You may have a lot of stuff on surfaces. You may have a lot of stuff that is stored. Stored meaning behind doors and drawers or in drawers. You may not have as much sentimental clutter there. Sentimental is the stuff that touches your heart. So you can say, I will pick 1 square foot of this desk and start this. Now, one of the things, again, I always go back to is categories. Game of. There we go. That one persona, Gen X with a J, nice to see you. That one persona says, a circling method works for me. Getting into the flow. You know, first round. Notice that, first round, and it's a circle. Tossing the obvious trash. That is surface clutter. Love it. Second round, wiping stuff down. Third stuff, putting it away. Notice each one gets a little bit deeper and deeper. Now, the interesting thing to me is, yeah, wiping stuff down is cleaning. Putting it away implies that you actually have a home for that thing that it goes to, and that it's easy for you to put it away. Now, one thing that you might notice is that you have stuff on your surfaces because when you go to put something away, your storage is full. Does it sound familiar? So you keep it up there because you say, oh my gosh, and then I have to do all this. I can't even put away my clothes because my bureau drawers are full, my closet's full, the cellar's full. I just said bureau and cellar. You know that I'm from New England, though I put an R at the end of cellar, so you know I don't live in New England anymore. Okay, so Debbie, all right, so see where I'm getting at? Yes. Chunking it down also helps calm down your nervous system. Now, I'm sure there's other people out there who talk about your nervous system and decluttering. But to me, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. I made sure that I got training and certified as a life coach because I realized that I can tell you to do a lot of stuff. But if your nervous system is all, if you're like all up, I'm overwhelmed and I don't feel like it, I can't concentrate, and ADHD and all these things, that it's going to be really hard for me to tell you and you to listen to do it. Yeah, I know what I should do, but am I doing it? No. It's probably because you're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, fearful, distracted, scared. So we help with that. We work with it. So making sure you feel good physically, and then making sure you're quieting down and calming down your nervous system. Okay? Yeah, and that one persona says the second round, the third round, one of the last rounds is finding homes for the unhoused items. Now, I'd be off, like what I would say that one persona, that is great. Yeah. Now this is okay. Okay, now Patty, this is interesting. I love it. So Patty says, getting things into categories when there aren't any clear-cut ones create traffic jams. Now, you know me, Patty. You know that I love a driving metaphor. I can make a category out of anything. There, you can make, and this is the great thing. Your categories, like you've got a pie, right? And a pie of clutter. You can chop it up any which way. If they aren't clear-cut categories, then don't worry about them being clear-cut. Make them more general. This is something that belongs in the kitchen versus this is something that belongs in the bathroom. This is something that I think should be stored in the bedroom versus something that should be stored in the garage. Okay? So, Patty, again, and this is the thing I love that just gives me so much delight to help you, is there are keys, there are clues to the solution to your problem in the words you choose to describe it. So if you are finding that you are looking for clear-cut categories is creating traffic jams, then have them be unclear and less defined, but better than a jumble of stuff. The jumble of stuff, looking for items that have something similar to them. These are things that belong in my craft room. These are beads for my bead crafting. These are my knitting needles for my knitting. Beading and crafting are under the umbrella. I feel like I should have an umbrella here of crafting. But you've got beading, like what, think about it. You go to Michael's Crafts, they have those big, or you go to Michael's and they tell you what's in each aisle, but there's some things that they're not on the list, but generally where they belong. Okay? Yeah. Now, Marietta is asking about, would you give some examples from the notebook on the wish list versus to-do list? Oh, I would love to do that, Marietta. Thank you for asking. But let me help Debbie with this just a little bit. Still dealing with some of my parents' things. Both are gone, and I can't let go of some things yet. Debbie, that's okay. That's okay. Earlier, I don't know if you were on, but I talked about kind of 3 levels of clutter. You've got surface clutter. It's on the surface, superficial. You've got stored clutter. Now, stored clutter can be a mix. It can be superficial things or it can be sentimental. But sentimental clutter is the one that is the most challenging for all of us to deal with. Sentimental clutter are the things that typically belong to you or somebody else, that the situation has changed, but the stuff remains the same. It's okay that you're still dealing with some of your parents' things. That's okay. Even if they're both gone. If you can't let go of some things yet, notice what I'm also doing is I'm slowing down how I'm talking. That also calms down, and I want you to think of it. I can't let go of some things yet. Then don't let go of those some things. Okay? But what I would offer, Debbie, is take a look at the stuff from your parents and look for the category of stuff I'm ready to let go of. I'm okay to let go of this, but not that. That is progress. That is a category. I'm ready to get rid of or let go of these things, and I'm not ready to let go of these things. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Carla knows this because Carla and I do one-on-one decluttering coaching, and Carla and I have been working together, and she says it's totally okay. It has been 2 years for me this past weekend. It will be time when it's time. Okay? Now, Danielle is saying, what about stuff you want to keep for sentimental reasons but has a moldy smell? Now, this is where, honestly, Danielle, I would go to, as I point to my computer over there, I would go to Google. How do I remove a moldy smell from whatever this thing is? Okay? If you want to keep it, but you don't like the smell, try to get rid of the smell. If you like it and you put up with the smell, that's fine. But if the smell keeps you from... There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's at a pace that feels good to you. It's at categories that feel good to you. Moving forward towards your, as I like to call it, destination decluttered, is you being on a road trip and driving at a miles per hour that feels comfortable to you. Any miles that you're driving forward, no matter you're 50 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour, you will be moving forward towards your destination, just like a road trip. You will get to there quickly if you drive faster than 5 miles, but you will still get there if you drive 5 miles an hour. Now, if you drive 95 miles an hour and you just say, I'm getting a dumpster and I'm pitching it all, that's also a way to get there. But I'm more about the journey, okay? I am more about helping you with the journey because the journey is something you're going to be spending part of your life doing. So why not make it enjoyable? Working at a pace that feels good to you, feeling good about your progress, not beating yourself up about what you haven't done yet, judging yourself, comparing yourself to I should be done yet. Who says? There are no rules to decluttering. When you remind yourself of that, it can make it easier for you to just get started again. Okay? Yeah, Becky is saying my parents both passed 3 years ago and I have loads of sentimental stuff. It's okay. Okay. So I want to share something with you. So just think about that. Let that kind of soak in. The only person who's making the itinerary of leaving at this time and arriving at that time is you. And you can change that at any time. If you're having a good time on the road, you can say, okay, I'm not going to get to, I always use Palm Springs as my destination. I'm going to get to Palm Springs 2 days later, but I'm going to enjoy where I am now. And so I'm okay with postponing by 2 days when I get there. Because here's the thing. Your destination is somewhere you really get to every day. It's a feeling of feeling good. Yeah, and yeah, Carla Jane, we can totally go one deeper. I'm always good at going one deeper. Carla Jane says, can we go one deeper? There are no rules in grief either. So if you're grieving the loss of someone you loved, that's okay. Honor that. Honor that person with your grief. And honor yourself that when you feel less grieving, it will be easier. But you can also, the one thing I don't want you to get stuck on though, is getting stuck in the mud of grief because you don't know how to get yourself out of it. I am here to help you when you are saying, I think I'm ready to move on from some of this stuff, even 10% of this sentimental items. I was coaching with a one-on-one client this morning, and we had talked about this earlier on one of the Destination Decluttered TikTok lives and YouTube lives. I can't remember which one, but we were talking about even the categories of chunking down, letting go of clothing that was owned by yourself or somebody else that's maybe passed, a mate or something. That there are certain clothes that have a lot more sentimental attachment than others. Now, my husband is alive. Thank God. I want him to be alive for ever. But if he passed, I know it would be easier for me to declutter his underpants versus his shirts. So I would start with what was easy. I would start with what felt like I could do it and not feel like I was going to die of grief. And when I do that, it gives me a little bit room and it gives me practice with letting go of these things. Ooh, this is fun. Patty says, I actually envisioned cutting the imaginary strings to the items of the person with scissors. Yes, getting your scissors and saying, I have attached a story to this, which reminds me of somebody, but I don't want the thing anymore. And you can snip the story, let go of the item, and still, if you want to keep the story, you can just reel the story back in and keep it in your heart. Use the metaphors that make sense to you. Okay? Yeah, my emotions are for that person, not the thing. 100%. Let me reassure you. There are people that live on in your heart right now that if you went and looked around your house, you have not one speck of physical items from them. So if you have a fear of forgetting someone, if you don't have a souvenir of their life, don't worry, because you have people that live on in your head and in your heart and in your stories, in your life, and you don't have one stick of clutter from them. Okay? So just let that sink in. Like I just gave you some seeds, water them, and just let it sink in. And I'm going to shift gears here because up here, Marietta was asking. So one of the things that I do for the people that are part of the email group, the Destination Decluttered email group, is this past month I did what I called a notebook party. I do declutter parties. We have a decluttering party on Saturday, people. Sign up and get your tickets. Get your tickets here. Do that, okay? But we did one, and it was all about how to use like a 50-cent notebook and another 50-cent notebook and maybe a $2 notebook to really change your life. I love it. And Marietta said, would you give some examples from the notebook on the wish list versus to-do list? I love this. Okay, so if we were going to do this, and I know I have it over here in some of my notes, but I'm just going to use my notebook, okay? So Marietta, and play along at home. Even if you don't know what we're doing, I'll go slowly so you can follow along. This will be fun. And your head and your willingness to learn and a hand on something to write with and something to write on are the tools in your toolkit that are going to get you decluttered sooner rather than later. Okay? I love it. Melissa says you've been watching me on the YouTubes. I love it. Very cool. Now, here's what we do. Normally, if you just write down a list of things to do, You've done that before, right? But I want you to do this. I want you to take a piece of paper. I like to usually fold it in half, but today I'm just going to draw a line down the middle, and then I'm going to do this. So you've got like almost like we used to make Foursquare, right? And I want you to think of this. I want you to write down on the list of one of them, which is to do, and then I want you to put your wish list. So just like this, okay? To do, and then wish list. Now, write down some of the things that are on your to-do list today. And then over here, on this side, ask yourself, why the hell am I doing this thing over here? What is that getting me? What is that getting me? What is the benefit of me doing this thing? Now, I'll be honest with you. I just came back from traveling yesterday, so my list for today is pretty empty. Okay? So what I will offer is I have a list of things to do that I texted to myself earlier. Text somebody, write a note, look up this. So each one of those things I can say, like that would make a connection with a friend. That would make me feel good to recognize somebody who for a job well done. One of them is I would feel better about my fingernails. So think of how what you do gets you what you want. And then flip it, okay? Put some stuff you want here. So again, this is your wish list. And then go back over here. Write down some things you want. And then say, what could I do today? What could I do to even start to get myself there? Okay? Marietta, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Alrighty. Yeah, and here's the thing. Danielle, yes, Maria, 100%. Growing up poor also affects one's ability to let go of clutter. 100%. Yeah, because fear. I'm going to try to be really kind of, simple about this. Fear of not having something makes you hang on to it for fear you don't get it again. If you grow up hungry, you're going to be hanging on to every morsel. If you grew up with not a lot of stuff, you're going to be clinging on to whatever you have and wanting to get more because you know what it feels like to not have any. That is your nervous system and your body and your whole self responding to fear. And it can take a lot of work to unravel that a little bit, to feel safe, not bringing home leftovers if you didn't finish your plate. You know, my husband and I ran into this when we were traveling. My God, the food started piling up, and I said, we gotta start to be okay with not finishing what we eat because if we're full, and also not bringing the food back to the hotel if we're not going to, and then just, carrying around all this stuff. So yeah, growing up, the way you grew up directly relates to how you are with clutter. Think about it on the flip side. Think about people who grew up in abundance. There was never any lack of anything, so they never had to worry about the kitchen being empty, about wearing clothes that didn't fit, because they would just get new ones. There was always a flow of new things in. Notice that that shows up in the way people act in their lives too. It's really fascinating. So do not underestimate where you came from has led you to where you are. Now, if where you are is somewhere you dig, that's awesome. Keep on doing what you're doing. But if you're saying, I'm at this point where I've got too much stuff, you can change it. But you've been running on some automatic scripts of things that people have taught you for years, and you've been on autopilot, kind of like a Google car, I guess they're called. And now you need to actually, or even in our regular cars, we have, what is that? You know what it is, cruise control. You've been letting the car drive itself. Now you need to be more aware of what you have and why you have it. Is it helping you get the wish list life you want? Or is it making it more difficult? Yeah. And Danielle mentions too, it's so hard, even things for my own childhood, schools, paper, and toys. Oh, hell yeah. But what I will share with you too is really, you guys, be so mindful. Start to pay attention to the words that you use because they are self-fulfilling prophecies. If you tell yourself something's going to be hard, that kind of makes it harder. Oh my gosh, I don't know. This is going to be hard. We're doing a side plank. I was in yoga, you know? But if you do step by step, if you just play, if you just try it, it may not be as hard as you want. And here's the wonderful thing, at least when you declutter with me, there's only do. There's no right or wrong. There's just do. Yoda, I think, said that, something like that. I still have stuff from my growing up. I have tons of stuff I have boxes right here. But I'm okay with what I have, and I know I'm going to go through it. That's the stuff I want. But you know what? Even if you never touch your sentimental stuff and you declutter just on the superficial and stored level, your life will feel so much better. So you decide what depth of the pool you go into. But if you tell yourself it's going to be hard, you're going to scare yourself, and it may be worse than you think. You may think it's worse than it actually is once you do it. Okay? Yeah. Yep. And Simmer says also, if you don't want to let go because it could mean you will forget, take a picture of the item. We are lucky enough to live in a world where you can take pictures of stuff. Okay? Okay. Now thank you. Nurse Kim, do or do not. There is no try, Yoda. Yeah, I was never really I always do this thing that I think is really funny, where I will tell people that I didn't like Star Trek, you know, like Darth Vader and C-3PO and all that. I know that that's Star Wars, but I'm showing them that I am so out of the loop that I get Star Trek and Star Wars confused. But yes, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I totally get that. Marietta, I'm glad that helps. And yay, Patty's laundry. She can see my bathroom floor. Love it. Good stuff, people. Yeah. Yeah, Carla Jane says, do a video of yourself telling the story of or about the person's item that reminds you of it. Yeah. So tell yourself the story. Okay, now Brookie baby, how do you suggest dealing with parents who unload all your old kid stuff on you? All right, Brookie baby. Okay, here's where I want to play both child and adult. It's one thing when it's your stuff. Now, I get it. They are the ones who probably saved this stuff from you. Okay, so from their perspective, let me just be an independent third party here. From the parental perspective, it could be one of those things, because I know this would have happened to me had I had children, that my mom threw away a lot of our stuff. So I felt bad when I discovered that as a kid. I felt like somebody, did something without, consulting me. So as a parent, I might go in the opposite direction and want to be a better parent than my parent did and save the things from your childhood because I know how it feels to not have them. So I want you to have them. Unfortunately, then, if they didn't involve you in that process, it does feel like they're dumping a lot of stuff on you, right? So that can feel overwhelming if they are dumping a lot of items on them. But the good news is, Brookie baby, and I'm only calling you that because it's your screen name, is it's your stuff, and this is where I'm team you. This is your stuff. And now that they've dumped it on you, you get to do whatever you want with it. Whatever you want to do with it. You can keep some of it if you want. You can let go of all of it. It's really up to you what you do with it. Now, my thought is, though, if your parents never involved you in the keeping process and they just dumped it on you, that you may not be able to easily kind of decide, which decluttering is decision making. At the very core of it, decluttering is decision making. And when I think of it, I always say the destination is, what do I want? So envision your life. Do you want to be surrounded by all sorts of memories of your past? You might want to save a lot of that stuff. If you have no interest in that stuff, if it was just a passing, fancy, it was a book you read and you're ready to let it go, a stuffed animal you never really connected with, donating that thing somewhere might feel good as well. Okay? But all of us are part of this big cycle, a bigger cycle of consumerism and attachment to items, and just notice where your parents came from, and it might help you to look at them and realize they thought they were doing a good thing by saving that stuff for you. Okay? I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Sorry, my thing. Okay, Sarah in SF says decluttering is decision making, and I have decision fatigue. That's okay. If you are fatigued, take a rest. Take a rest. That's the great thing, Sarah. The good news is, I will share with you, this is why I have divided up the way I coach clutter into 3 levels, 3 categories: surface clutter, stored clutter, and sentimental clutter. Sentimental clutter is the one that will give you the most decision fatigue. The next one, the one that is in the middle, is going to be stored clutter, because you're deciding what you want and where does it go. But the great news is even decluttering just your surface. Remember, surface clutter is putting things back where they live, getting rid of trash, wiping down surfaces, doing laundry, dishes, putting away the laundry, that type of thing. Decluttering is decision making, but if you're getting tired of doing that, swim to the shallow end of the pool. Do some just mindless, as I like to call it, puttering and decluttering. Okay? Puttering and decluttering. Okay? So if you have decision fatigue, it's like muscle fatigue. Don't keep on using that muscle. It's going to be more difficult. Wait until you feel stronger again to dive back into the deep end of sentimental stuff and decision making, and you'll feel better when you do that. Don't push yourself past your fatigue point. All right? And yeah, and childhood experiences definitely relate to clutter issues. 100%. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So, okay, Sarah. Yeah, and it's funny because I'm backing up and I'm seeing things in reverse order. But I can do that. I can moonwalk. I'm going to start with something at the very beginning, okay? Making sure you feel okay physically. If you're super tired, if you have a headache, if you've got a rumbly tumbly, if you're exhausted, take care of your physical self first. It's like making sure that your car is in good working condition before you go take it on a road trip. Or even if you're just driving to the next town to go do a return or something. Make sure your car is in good working order. You have gas in your tank, that it's clean so you can see. So make sure you do whatever you can to feel yourself from the crown on down. I like to rhyme. That you're feeling okay physically. The next one is your nervous system. Now I bring this up because Sarah in SF says where to start when every room has clutter. And what I want to do is help you, but that before I say chunk it down, which I will get to in a sec, I want you to think of calming down your nervous system. Quieting down. Slowing down. Breathing down. When every room has clutter, there's overwhelm, I want you to think of the word down. You think of overwhelm. Am I feeling overwhelmed? Yes. I want you to think of the word down and how many times you can use it to feel better energetically, emotionally, inside here versus the outside. So quieting down your environment. Calming down your backseat driver. That's what I call like the pain in the ass, voice in my head. Sitting down can help. Drinking down some water. Putting your feet down on the ground. Putting your shoulders up, but then putting your shoulders down purposely. Breathing down to the bottom of your lungs and then slowing down your exhale. Okay, a lot of this calming down. You're going to be okay. You will make it so much more difficult to do anything if you skip over this step. Okay? So don't skip over this step. You would do this to a child or an animal that got all freaked out about something. Before you try to do anything else with them, you would try to calm them down. So do it to yourself again. Quiet down, breathe down, slow down, feet down, shoulders down, eyes down, muscles down, quiet down. And as you do that, think of all those downs. Another one is just even taking your hands and going down like this, kind of like petting. You put your hand down on your heart. And once you are feeling a little bit less overwhelmed, Sarah and SF, chunking, writing down and chunking down are the other ones. If every room has clutter, you start with one room. That is chunking it down. You're taking your 10 rooms and you're saying, I'm going to start with one. And in that room, I'm going to start with just the surface clutter. And you're going to do these things because it helps you to get started. Getting started and getting in motion, decluttering, gets your body moving, which is so important. It really is. And it reminds you you can do some of this. And what you can't do easily, I'm here to help. Okay? Yeah. No, Carla Jane, sorry, I'm just catching up here. Okay, I'm glad I see some helpfuls there. Cool. So just really quickly, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Now, I'm only going to be here on TikTok live this week, but I'm going to be here like 5 times. If you want to know the schedule, I have an email mailing list. The email mailing list group is a really cool group of people. It's very low key. I don't send out a lot of emails, but it's a way in which you can get access to what I call the TV guide, like when I'm going to show up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or actually not Sunday. We're already traveling on Sunday. If you want to know where to connect up with me live, there's a schedule. I don't share it with everybody. But all you need to do is sign up for the mailing list group, and you don't get spammed, all sorts of things. You join the email group by going to my website, destinationdecluttered.com, and scrolling to the bottom, there's a little place to put it. Totally low-key, no pressure, but a lot of good stuff, okay? A lot of good stuff that I like to share with the people who want to have stuff shared with them, okay? We're doing a decluttering party this Saturday. We've started a pen pal group. I don't know how that's going because I'm realizing that the pen pals are doing it. But if you want to say, hey, I'd like it if people emailed me. All right. There we go. Yeah. And I will say, Sarah, I love that. And he says, I am going to sign up for your newsletter. Let me be really clear. I don't send out newsletters. I will send out it's almost like, hey, friend, just want to let you know we've got some good stuff that's posted over here on this secret members only page. Okay. Like the people who are on part of the group get access to the page. But I just want to minimize that. Like I roll my eyes when I think of like email newsletters. I like to connect with people though. Okay? I like to connect with people and genuinely help them with something that I struggled with and now I'm better at, and I just am so excited to help you kind of out of the mud and back onto the asphalt, the tar paved road, if you will. I'm always talking in like driving metaphors. Okay? Now Carla Jane is saying, so yes, destinationdecluttered.com, mailing list, you sign on, you become part of the group, wicked easy, very low key. And then you get access to the secret page, I like to call it. So you can sign up for the declutter party. You can see where I'm live. Now, I usually also have a calendar open for new clients, but I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. So it didn't seem fair to me to get your hopes up to say that we could work together and be like, yeah, I'm gone for 2 weeks. When I return from that for the fall, totally getting back on the track then. So if you think you would like to do one-on-one coaching with me, just know that will be available in the fall. Okay? And yay, I'm glad that people are finding me and you find this helpful. That's the only reason I'm showing up here on this side of TikTok. I scroll on TikTok like you do. I'm always scrolling and liking and all that. So I love that. Now, Carla says, emotionally realizing I was mourning and listening to the overwhelm. Then I got depressed. Yes. So notice when you're listening to the overwhelm, because this is what I like to call it, we have 2 voices in our heads. We have our backseat driver and our co-pilot. Again, I like to talk in metaphor. So imagine yourself in a car. You're in the driver's seat, and you've got 2 people in the car with you. One's next to you in the passenger seat. The other one's in the back seat. Ever heard of a backseat driver? I am one of these in real life. I know. I'm totally working on it. But you're saying to somebody, don't do it your way, do it my way. You have a voice in your head, most likely, that says, don't do it that way, do it my way. But if you listen to them, you're not getting the life you want because you're doing it the way they want you to. So what I like to say is, please notice that you have two voices inside your head. The other voice in your head, if you want it to sound like my voice, go right ahead. But it's going to be that helpful, wacky sidekick that's just there to help you, okay? I am here with you on this road trip called life. I'm only here to help. I am never here to hurt, okay? And so I just offer to you, if you find yourself listening to and believing and feeling crappy because you're listening to the unhelpful, negative, fearful voice in your head, there's another voice that's just waiting for you to quiet down and calm down that fearful voice enough so there's some room to speak. And that's when your co-pilot will show up, like me, saying, there is another way, you know. I know they're telling you to do that back there, but look, you've been listening to them this whole time. Look where we are because you listen to them. Let's try something different. Instead of listening to the fear, let's listen to courage, fun. You know, why the hell not? Let's try something. We don't start big, we start small. We chunk it down. We try a baby step. How did that work out? Do you like that? Yeah, that felt good. Let's do another baby step. I was in the airport yesterday. This little kid, so freaking cute. His dad was holding him by his arms, and he had this big body and these tiny little legs. And he's like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to try this. And at one point his foot fell backwards, but he picked it up and he put it straight. And he's walking and he's building those muscles because he knows that even just as a human being, that his life will be more delightful when he knows how to walk. But look, he had help. His dad was holding him up. He was stumbling and falling, but he would get back up again. So I share that with you. We're all babies inside. And if we don't know how to do stuff, we can still learn things. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Okay? And we're not old dogs. We're young pups here. Just in case, even though we happen to have the skin of those saggy, hound dogs, right? Better late than never. I wish I had learned all the stuff that I'm teaching you on these lives and my coaching, and that I've learned myself over the past 10 or so years. God, I wish I had learned it. I wish I had learned it when I was in my teens and 20s. Not gonna lie, wish I do it. Didn't. Oh well. So freaking glad I know it now. Because there are people who die, go to their graves, never changing their lives. Okay? I wish I learned it earlier, but I didn't, and I don't dwell on that because I can't undo that. But what I choose to say is, I choose to believe that this is the exact right time. This is just the right time for me to hear this lesson and absorb it and learn it and play with it and see how it changes my life. Yeah, Pam the dog lady, better Nate than never. Better late than never. So I offer to you. So I'm going to be here for another 7 minutes. If you like what you're hearing and you have the time, I'll just offer this to you too. This is crazy. I'll share this with you because I started doing decluttering. Excuse me. I've been decluttering all my life. I started doing TikTok lives like 3-ish years ago. Okay. And somebody once said, do you ever record them so I can re-listen to them? And I said, I don't, but I do now. Right now, and I'm going to check it because I'm saying this because in about 6 minutes, I'm going to continue doing a live because I also do lives on the on Destination Decluttered on YouTube. I do that in case one of these free platforms that we're all connecting with goes blank. So if TikTok goes down, I can pivot over to YouTube. So I offer to you, if you like what you're hearing and you want me to kind of keep you company in the background as you're puttering and decluttering, I will be doing a YouTube live from 12 noon Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern momentarily. But the crazy thing is, talk about doing a little bit at a time and how it adds up. There are, right now, because I just checked, 801 videos on my Destination Decluttered YouTube channel. They are the recordings of the lives that I've done over the past 2 years. I love having that resource available to you because I travel, and I have learned it is better for me to go completely off the digital grid than to try to phone it in from the road. But I don't leave you empty-handed. So if you like, let's say you're like, oh, I'd love to hang out and do the live, but I'm busy, that's cool. There's 800 videos to choose from that you can go to Destination Decluttered on the tube of you and listen to one as a podcast in the background. Christine says they are amazing and helpful. Oh, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I think it's kind of fun. But I just want to leave you with this. It's never too late. There's nothing wrong with you if you have clutter. If anything, I think cluttered people are kind of cool. The people who have never, we have stories. We tell stories about the stuff, what it means to us, where it came from. We're storytellers. So I think it's pretty cool that you have stuff in your house that has stories that you're attached to. No big deal. What I'm here to do is help you balance the stuff you want and keep the stuff you want and make room for what you have, space in your life for what you want, by making it easier for you to let go of the stuff that you just don't want anymore. That really is what decluttering is. Think of it. It's like the junk drawer, and you dump it out and you realize some of the stuff I still want to keep. It's not junk. It's good stuff. It's my treasure drawer. Other stuff I look and I'm like, I can let go of that. And when you let go of the stuff you don't want, think of it just like in math. When you minus some things, you will have more space for the stuff you want to expand and feel good. And not necessarily expand, just have more space around you. Space to expand and breathe and relax and just look around and feel good at whatever your eye glances at. That it's stuff you love, that it's where you want it to be, that even in the map in your head, you know where stuff is, and you can easily go get it. I'll leave you with this one too, is oftentimes, and I gotta actually, hold on. I want to make sure my body is feeling better. So let me do this one quick thing. There we go. Okay. So this is what I often start with my clients. So I'll give you a quick 2-minute. From the crown on down, make sure you're feeling okay physically. If you're not, do something today to make yourself feel better. I highly recommend drinking some water, stretch your body, get out into the world, reconnect, and don't be so, tight. From the crown on down, make yourself feel better. Then calm down your nervous system. Write down what you want, and then we chunk it down. When you're writing down what you want, answer these 3 questions just for decluttering. You can use this anywhere in your life, but how do I want my home to look? I want a home that looks like fill in the blank. And use as many words as you can. How do you want your decluttered home to look? How do you want your decluttered home to function? I want to easily, here's the answer to that one, easily be able to find things that I'm looking for, easily be able to use the thing I was looking for, and easily be able to put it back where it belongs so I can find it again the next time. So how do I want it to look? How do I want it to function is easy. And how do I want to feel as I walk through my home? Write those down. You may not be there yet. That's okay. That's why we're here for the journey. But at least you now know a little bit of where you're going to be headed, and that's your destination, and now we have something to aim for. Okay? Now, it is 11:59. I'm going to start the YouTube live. So if you're interested in that, it's youtube.com/@destinationdecluttered. Mailing list group. I will send out an email before the end of the week. Remember, we have a decluttering party on Saturday, and then we don't have another one until September. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, you can join the email group at destinationdecluttered.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, put your email address in there. You're going to get an automatic response that gives you access to this page with all sorts of good stuff on it. You can unsubscribe at any time. What day is today? 8/12. 2025 YouTube Live. Okay? If you like what you're hearing and you want to hear more live, head on over to YouTube. I'll be there in a second. If you would like to, but you can't because of your schedule, I get that. Go to the YouTube channel anyway and follow it so you know how to go have access to 800 free hours of coaching and helpful hints and wacky hijinks, okay? So glad to be back on TikTok. I will see you guys later this week. If you want to know the schedule, again, join the email group, and I'll smell you later, okay? Bye. How do I shut this off? Trying to shut it off. Okay. Bye.